Stop Falling for Logical Fallacies, Part 4. You know, what I really want for you is that when you have discussions with other people, you don't look like that guy. I hope that you don't get frustrated. Now, once you start spotting logical fallacies, it'll be a little bit frustrating at first because it's really hard to sort it out with people. And what I want to encourage you to do is know these logical fallacies when people use them. Point them out respectfully if you can. Try to be patient and explain what's wrong with the logic. But let me just give you a little clue to something here as well before I proceed. It's not always going to work. The best arguments don't always work. Really, in the end, a lot of people are not open to reason because their heart's desire oftentimes is going in a different direction. So try not to be too frustrated. You're going to be frustrated. If you learn logic, if you learn arguments, if you learn to spot logical fallacies, it's just going to happen, I can assure you. But, pray silently and just keep pushing forward. Try to love them as best you can. And if that's not working and they're steamrolling, you just leave. That's the best thing you can do sometimes. All right, well, let's look at just a couple more logical fallacies. Again, these are still fallacies of relevance. And you can probably tell from the little cartoon here what this one is going to be, maybe. But here's an example. We've always done it this way. It must be right. Boy, when I was the pastor of churches way back in the day, this was one of the things that people may not have said this exactly, but it certainly turned out to be the way they lived, they conducted themselves. I was at one church, and one of the members informed me that the community expected them to do barbecue chicken because they had the best barbecue chicken, and it was the expectation of these chocolate peanut butter Easter eggs every single year. And, when I would try to bring up, this is not very effective. This is not what God calls us to do. Well, the typical answer would be, well, we've always done it this way, so it must be right. That is a logical fallacy. I guarantee you if you drop that on a church member, they're not going to take too kindly to it. Christians seem not to know logic these days. Here's another example. In past ages, we believed in mythology. We moderns don't believe in the existence of God. Now, here's what I want you to notice. These are two similar logical fallacies. They both make an appeal, but they do it in opposite ways. The first one appeals to the past to verify their conclusion. The second one appeals to the past to, in essence, well, it's going in the opposite direction. They're still appealing to the past to verify their point of view, just doing it in a negative way. And so what is this called? This is called an appeal to tradition. It invokes what is old or new in an attempt to establish the truth. I actually messed up in what I said about the second one. The second one, they're just saying that the old way is wrong and the new way is right. The first one, they're saying that the old way is right and the new way is wrong. Both are appeals to tradition in their own way. Same kind of fallacy, different kind of use. And finally, let you look at the image. Here's the example. It's absurd to follow the teaching of a Bronze Age book written by goat herders. What? Why would anybody say that? Well, of course, they're talking about the Bible. And let's say that it's true. It's actually not true that it was written by Bronze Age goat herders. But what if it was? I know there was at least one shepherd who wrote part of it, and that's really the shot they're trying to take. What if it was written by a shepherd? What if it was written by somebody who herded goats? What if it was written by somebody in the Bronze Age? Does that mean it's wrong? Well, the answer is no. That doesn't mean it's wrong at all. Another example. You can't trust anything he says because he is a liberal atheist. Well, is his theology a reason to reject what he says? Is his politics a reason to reject what he says, even if you put them together, two bad things together? Is that a reason to not trust him? No, it doesn't follow that you shouldn't trust somebody because those two things are true. Now, what is this called? Now, this is really similar to an ad hominem, but it's not really attacking. It's just naming something. It's naming somebody or naming their position and saying that you can't trust because of who they are. So what is this? This is called the genetic fallacy. It has nothing to do with DNA. It has to do with origin. If you think of the word Genesis, Genesis means in the beginning or the beginning. And so that's what the genetic fallacy is. It denies the truth claim simply due to its origin. Another way of saying that is that you say that somebody's argument is not true because of the source, because of who they are. You know, like if I said, well, he comes from Denton, and you shouldn't believe what he says because after all, he's from Denton. I believe they said something similar about Jesus. When it became known that he was a prophet from Nazareth, and somebody said, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?" You know, why discredit the prophet just because of his hometown? That makes no sense. That is the genetic fallacy. All right. Well, I have given you, I think, 16 different logical fallacies. There are many, many more. But these are the ones that you'll find primarily that people use and abuse. So I hope this helps. I hope you go out and engage people in fruitful discussions. Don't call them arguments because they'll think you're fighting with them. Just call them discussions, but then use solid premises. And now I'm going to forget what an argument is made of. Conclusion. Oh my goodness. See, I'm not editing this thing. Make sure that you use solid evidences, which are your premises, and conclusions that follow naturally from your premises. And you will not commit the error of bad arguments.